Last week, $300 billion in software market cap vanished. To know what's actually happening here, you need to understand why SaaS companies were considered the greatest business model in the history of capitalism. And I'm not really exaggerating here. For about 20 years, starting in about 2005, Silicon Valley figured out something beautiful. You built software once, you sold it as a subscription, and your margins sat at a fat 85%. Then your customers just pay you 10% more every year forever. It was the financial equivalent of finding a money printer and being told it's totally legal. Companies that you may know, stuff like Figma or Salesforce or ServiceNow, these things that were supposed to be the bedrock of the modern economy, got absolutely slaughtered over the last few weeks. And the popular explanation is, oh, AI can write code now, so why would you pay for software when you can just, make it? That explanation is wrong. And more precisely, it's about a third of the way of being right. And when we're talking about the market, this is the most dangerous kind of wrong there is. As an investor, an analyst, and a writer who's been working in Silicon Valley for years, what I want you to understand is that AI does not make software less valuable. Instead, it makes a different group of software companies more valuable. And the thing that separates the winners from the dead, it's context. And if you understand the importance of context, you'll see where the next $1 trillion in technology will be made. Here's why the old model is broken, and I want to be really precise about this, because it's not just one thing, it's three things happening all at the same time. One, the growth is bad. It is kaput. The best SaaS companies today grow slower than the worst ones did in 2016. Public SaaS growth has been cut in half just since 2023, from 36% down to 17%. The juice is simply not there. Second, the margins are structurally worse. Old software, you build it once and you distribute it for free. AI-first apps, every single time a user does something, it costs you money. Tokens are not free. Currently, AI applications run at 50 to 65% gross margins, not the 85 of the glory days of SaaS. Now, that might not sound like a big difference, but in software math, it's the difference between we're printing money and we're God's gift to capitalism, and we might be just a regular old business. Number three, and this is the sneaky one, switching costs are collapsing. Large language models make it dramatically easier to move your data from one tool to another. The thing that kept you locked into Salesforce for 10 years, namely the fact that migrating was a nightmare and near impossible and would add gray hairs and divorces into your life, that all goes away. And AI can do in a weekend what it used to take a consulting team 6 months. The switching costs are just low. So the growth is worse, the margins are worse, and your customers can leave easier. And so if you're an investor in any of these companies, this is not great. But here's the paradox. If AI makes software so much more powerful and so much more useful, how can it also make software companies less valuable? Does all that value just evaporate? Does it all get taken up in consumer surplus? No, it moves to the context layer. Okay, so where does this value go? To understand that, we need to look at how the entire technology stack is getting reorganized. I'm going to make this as simple as I possibly can because I refuse to talk like a Harvard MBA. OpenAI just launched something called Frontier, and they describe it as, and I'm quoting here, an intelligence layer that connects siloed data warehouses, CRM system, ticketing tools, and internal applications, which does read like the secret diary of an MBA. But behind all that jargon, something real is happening. Software is splitting into 3 different layers. 2 of those layers are getting commoditized. Think of it like a sandwich. Layer 1, the bottom bun, is databases. These are your systems of record. They have all your financial ledgers, your healthcare records, your compliance systems. This is the boring, essential stuff that you can't get rid of, sold by Oracle and SAP and Salesforce. Essentially, in this new world, they become filing cabinets. They're not going anywhere, but no one's getting excited about them either. They're really hard to sell, and they're sticky, but they're just under so much competitive pressure. The second layer on the top is applications. And that's the stuff you actually click around on. Your analytics dashboards, your project management tools, all the per-seat subscription software that makes up most of what we call SaaS. This is the kill zone. This is where the SaaS occur actually happens. Because these tools serve individual users, they don't have complex security needs, and they're just not that hard to build anymore. You can literally vibe code a project management tool in an afternoon. I've done it. I suck at engineering. I shouldn't be able to do it, but now I can. And it's kind of unsettling how easy it is. But layer 3, the one in the middle, this is where it gets interesting. And it's something I call the context layer. And this is a category of software that just barely existed before AI. The tech industry has a name for the space between databases and applications. They call it the orchestration layer. It's a technology that bridges the gap between your databases and applications. But orchestration is just like a fancy word for plumbing, and plumbing gets cheap so fast. LangChain, MCP, even Google's agent protocol, they're all racing towards working together, which means that the frameworks will just become commodities. The pipes will just be replaceable. What won't be cheap, though, is what directs the orchestration. The institutional knowledge that tells AI agents what to do, in what order, and whether they're even allowed to do it. Think about every company you've ever worked at. There's this invisible layer of knowledge that nobody really acknowledges. It's the stuff in emails, it's in wiki pages that no one can find, there's stuff in Slack channels, onboarding docs. A lot of it is just in the heads of people who have been there for like 8 years. It's this messy, unstructured, impossible to search blob of how we actually do things here that used to just be payroll and overhead. It was a cost of doing business. As companies get bigger, they need more coordination, and it's the reason you had to hire more people than you actually probably wanted. AI turns that overhead into actual software, and not just any software, the most important software in the stack. Because the context layer is what makes the difference between an AI agent that takes action and an agent that takes the right action. And the best part about the context layer is that it compounds. Every time an agent executes a workflow, it generates data that feeds back into the context layer, making the execution smarter. It's a flywheel. The more you use it, the harder it is to leave. Now, there's a strategy theory in technology that nobody in Silicon Valley has read because it wasn't a tweet. Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen called it the law of conservation of attractive profits. This sounds very complicated. It's not. Simply put, it's when one part of the stack gets cheap, the part next to it gets expensive, and this happens pretty much every time. IBM's hardware got commoditized, so value migrated to Intel and Microsoft. PC software got commoditized, value migrated to the internet platforms. And now code is getting commoditized, databases are getting commoditized. Both of them are becoming essentially just tokens used by AI. So where does the value go? The layer between, the context layer. As databases become commodities, and so do endpoint applications, the stuff connecting them in the middle is the thing that becomes scarce. And here's the part that makes this a genuinely enormous market, is the context layer does not compete with existing software budget. It replaces coordination overhead. It takes money out of payroll, not out of IT. Think about what the alternative is to the context layer. Right now, companies pay a small army of people whose entire job is basically email. They just kind of like make sure the company doesn't go off the rails. They write status updates. They are making PowerPoints. They're making sure everyone is aligned. They're scheduling the pre-meeting to talk about the meeting where they'll have the post-meeting debrief. These people. If you replaced context layer with middle management, you're like, 80% of the way there with this idea. These people, this layer of middle management that all of us have had to deal with our entire working lives, they're paid trillions. And for the first time, that money can theoretically become software margin. And that's a really big idea. The wildest part about all of this is, there's just $1 trillion on the ground, and nobody has claimed it. There's no clear winners yet, which if you're a founder or an investor or a reader of my newsletter, The Leverage, that's either thrilling or terrifying, but it's real. There are basically two camps in this fight. The first camp is, does the context layer get owned by the company that already holds your knowledge? Or in the second camp, is it the company that builds the smartest AI agents? This is a YouTube video. I'm not going to be able to tell you who's going to be the trillion-dollar company in 10 years. It will probably, more than likely, break down based on the end market. So big enterprises may love ServiceNow, while a 200-person startup may run on Notion. But that the future is so unclear is what makes this so exciting. This is a chance for startups to change the way we work for the better, to eliminate middle management and make, several yachts worth of money along the way. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The SaaSacre is real. That market cap that got eviscerated probably deserved to go. There were a lot of companies that got really rich selling you subscriptions to click on buttons that didn't do anything, and those companies, they're in serious trouble. But this is not the death of software in general. It's the opposite. It's software eating the last thing it hadn't eaten yet. The messy human work of knowing how an organization actually operates. Christensen's law says when a layer commoditizes, the adjacent layer captures the margin. So in our current world, where systems of record and endpoint applications increasingly become commodities, then the only thing left is the context in between them to capture that margin. And if your portfolio doesn't reflect that, good luck. And if you want to be prepared for this future, you should read my newsletter, The Leverage, at gettheleverage.com, where I cover these sort of tech trends and interesting questions every week. 2026 is the year that AI becomes real. Up to this point, I think it's more been the realm of bloggers and people who are just trying to make a point or make a buck, but it hasn't really changed life all that much for most regular people.